Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DSP Sports. I had a Merry Christmas. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. David, did you have a Merry Christmas?
I had a great Christmas, and I'm glad you did too, and I'm really glad to be back in St. Louis with you, Don.
All right, the NFL. The NFL is coming to an exciting climax of the whole playoff thing. Now, the games that I watched this last weekend were the Rams versus the 49ers. And I watched the Vikings versus the Eagles on Tuesday Night Football.
First time in like 50 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's wild. It was wild that they did that. And I want to talk about that, but first let's talk about the Rams versus the 49ers, because this wasn't just a win-lose game for the Rams or the 49ers. This game was for something, and apparently it was for a job, because the 49ers head coach got fired. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I saw this coming, because in the beginning of the year, after Kurt Warner left, everybody who thinks they know anything about football on TV said the 49ers are going to win this division and they're going to run away with it, because Arizona's going to be down. The Rams are going to be only won one game last year, and Seattle didn't look real good last year. So everybody picked the 49ers to win this division. And the second that they were eliminated, they fired their head coach. And to be honest, they probably should have. I think he was a little in over his head with the offensive side of the ball, because he's gone through like 3 offensive coordinators in 2 years. So, that could be a little difficult on the offense, trying to learn a new scheme, 3 times every 2 years.
Now, that game for a while there got really heart-pounding. It looked as if the 49ers and the Rams were both in it all the way to the end. And I was watching the game with a group of extended family, and things got a couple swears were let loose, even though children were in the room. Wow.
I think the thing with that game is the Rams could have very easily ran away and won, but special teams let them down. When you give up a special teams return, and then the first quarterback, Smith, that threw a pass to the tight end that missed the tight end but went to the receiver, and he ran in for a touchdown. There's 2 fluke touchdowns right then, and then all of a sudden 49ers were getting their butts kicked, and they're now they're ahead going into halftime. So the Rams pulled ahead, but then the Rams did what the Rams always do. I was sitting next to my stepdad, and I called all 6 of the Rams' final plays. I called it, and every single one they did, and I predicted it. And they didn't even try to throw the ball once, and they gave the ball back to the 49ers. And they just didn't have the killer instinct. It's like they were so worried about playing to win that, in a way, they 49ers almost came back and tied the game, and then we would have went to overtime. That would have been a big old mess.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sitting here at NFL.com looking at the Rookie of the Week 2010, and in Week 16, the Pepsi Rookie of the Week, I've got to choose between. I got 5 rookies to choose between: Tim Tebow, Sam Bradford, and Joe Webb. And Tim Tebow helped his team, the Denver Broncos, come back from a deficit to win their game. Sam Bradford led the Rams to a victory, but Joe Webb and the Minnesota Vikings may have been the big story of the extended weekend for the NFL.
Yeah, he looked good last night. I mean, he didn't put up great numbers, but he looked confident. And the funny thing about it was I was reading, or maybe they said it last night in the telecast, but his 40 at the Columbine was just as fast as Michael Vick. So,
yeah.
I mean, if he can be accurate, he could be a good quarterback.
I enjoy watching Michael Vick play football. I like the fact that he is a quarterback with cojones. You know what I'm saying? He's got bullocks.
Yeah, no, he was limping around last night like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that if he is, if they infiltrate his pocket there where he's at, he's not afraid to go, and he doesn't slide like other quarterbacks do like he's going into first base or something. He goes and he tries to get that. He tries to get the first down. And sure, he'll run out of bounds to stop himself from getting hit. I mean, that just makes sense. But it looks like this guy really wants to get and will do whatever he can do to get that first down. And it's always a pleasure watching him play. And it was a pleasure watching both of them play because both of them, they looked as if they were willing to do whatever they could to get their first down and B, win the game. But or maybe it's A, win the game, and B, get the first down. But Mike Vick got hit hard a lot.
Well, I saw him say in an interview a couple weeks ago that he doesn't like to slide, and I think as he gets older, he better learn. He even said that when he was with the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Braves, the Falcons used to bring Atlanta Braves in to teach him how to slide, and he just can't do it. It's just something he just doesn't do. So if he doesn't learn how to slide as he gets older, his career is going to, come to an end with those vicious hits.
Well, we're going to have to enjoy him while we can because you're right. He's going to do that. I think there's a time to slide and there's a time to go for that down. And,
yeah, but his time is always every time.
So what other games did you have the pleasure of watching this last week, or did Christmas get in the way of your football watching?
I was actually at a casino, so I watched all the games and in the sports book. The game that was probably the best for me. Oh, actually, that was 2 weeks ago. But the game that was best for me last week was obviously the Rams game because after that, then we found out that they were getting flexed by NBC to go to prime time, which for Rams fans being in prime time, it hasn't happened in years. So, I mean, it's really exciting to think the Rams are going to be playing a meaningful game in January.
I know.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to secure myself a 6-pack of really good beer or a 12-pack of really crappy beer.
Well, Betsy said that she may just go on lockdown that night with Gus and leave me alone because she says I'm going to be stressed out.
I know that I was very upset. I was very upset last night. I had picked the Eagles to win, and when the Vikings won, my all hate for Minnesota. The only thing that I like about Minnesota is the fact that my wife was born there.
Well, speaking of Minnesota, we got some breaking news on Brett Favre.
Yes, what is the breaking news on Brett Favre?
The NFL is coming down very hard on the Brett Favre. Not really. They fined him $50,000. They say he didn't really. They couldn't prove that he did anything wrong, but the $50,000 fine was for not being for dodging the NFL's questioning and not being completely forthcoming.
That's like Martha Stewart with her insider trading. Well, we're going to put you in jail because you didn't cooperate with us. We can't prove anything.
Oh, he's got to pay $50,000, and he got like a $5 million bonus to come this year to play. So I think that all makes sense. But what's going to be interesting now, Don, is to see what happens with this Jen Sturger chick. If she's happy with this, or if she's actually going to go out now and start talking and going public.
I think she's going to go public. That's just my opinion, though. I don't know.
Well, I follow her on Twitter, and she is pretty responsible with her tweets. She never talks about any of this case. I'm pretty sure she is getting good advice.
Well, in that case, I would guarantee she's going to go public. If she's being responsible with her stuff and not saying stuff out in the open, she probably is. I do have to say that that it sickened me because Brett Favre has become poison to me when I enjoyed him last year, but over this last year, him not retiring and the whole Minnesota thing, and I know part of it is Minnesota's problem and for trying to pull him back in and all that stuff. We've talked about that before. But when they did the little retrospective of him during the game, supposed to give you warm and fuzzies, it just made me want to throw up. It's just that, but that's just me. And I also, by the way, I'm committed to not talking politics on DSP Sports. I have a show to do that in. But I do want to personally blame Barack Obama for jinxing Michael Vick and the Eagles.
Oh, hey, I didn't think about it that way. I did.
Yeah,
that is interesting.
And it's not that he's done anything that I haven't done before. You know what I'm saying? Because I've called the team and they've lost, and I felt like I've jinxed them too. So this isn't political, Mr. President. This is just me wishing that the two of us could keep our mouths shut when we want someone to win, so that they'll actually win.
Very cool. Very funny.
All right, now the NBA. The Miami Heat is, of course, always at the top of our list to talk about on the NBA because of our love-hate relationship with what they've done with the NBA. We love that we have something fun to talk about, the NBA, but I hate the fact that they're doing so well. But I would like to say that the team that I'm really disappointed with is your LA Lakers, and I'm holding you personally responsible for the Lakers allowing the Heat to win another game.
Not only that, and they got really beat the hell out of last night by the Spurs.
Yes.
So this is classic Lakers. I mean, if you notice the last few years, they're never they never have the number one record in all of the NBA when they go into the playoffs. Usually somebody's better, the Cavs, the Celtics, but they always manage to pull it out in the end. But they go on these streaks where they just completely lose like a bunch of games in a row. I mean, and they didn't even show up against San Antonio or Miami, which is really disappointing.
It is. So a little recap of the NBA. Boston is in first place in their division. Chicago is in first place in their division. Of course, Miami, Utah, the LA Lakers, and the best record in the NBA right now would be the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
All right. Now that go ahead.
They only had 4 losses so far. And by the way, I checked on our New York Islanders, and they've won, I think, 4 of their last 10. So we might have revived them.
Awesome. That is awesome. We'll get into that in the next show. What I want to talk about right now is that coming in the new year and whatnot, we've got the PGA Tour is going to fire up again. And after playing a limited season because of his personal problems, Tiger Woods didn't have a single win last year, 2 top 10s. Regardless of what we think about the guy, do we think that he can make a comeback in this next year on the PGA Tour and win again?
You'd be foolish to say no. The guy is the greatest golfer in our lifetimes, and regardless of what I feel about him personally, or about how narcissistic he might be, but I think for sure he's going to make a comeback, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the PGA Tour Golfer of the Year next year.
Well, Gillette dropped him as their endorser because apparently it wasn't the best Gillette could get.
I did not know that.
Yes, Gillette dropped him, but I'm telling you this right now. Look at all the people in sports that have done something, or at least been accused of something, that's been screwy. Look at Kobe. Whether he did anything or not, he was accused of it and got rung through the ringer. Look at Michael Vick, Even look at Michael Jordan, some of his behavior, even post-career. They're all still very popular and profitable endorsers. Why? Because they're winners. And I think if Tiger Woods starts winning again, a lot of people are going to forget his troubles.
Yeah, but also Tiger Woods didn't. I mean, I personally don't like the guy. I never have, but I've always thought he was the best golfer. But, I mean, he didn't break the law. What he did was horrible, and I'm glad his wife, finally, there's one of these wives had some balls to dump these assholes that do this. And I'm proud of her for that. But he didn't break the law. He didn't drink and drive and kill somebody. He didn't do he was a bad person. He just committed a moral sin. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he, I don't think he should be held back that hard because he didn't break the law.
Well, there we go. Now, I want to talk about next show where the entire show will probably be consumed by our NFL bracket. Is that right, David?
Yeah, next week we're going to be doing our NFL picks. After Sunday night, the pairings will come out for the playoffs. Don, I think you and I will go ahead and make our picks throughout the entire playoffs. We'll go game by game and then pick our Super Bowl winner, and I think that'll be a good show next week.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP Sports.